Don't know if this is intentional. He did save enough charges to get across the water 3 times. I don't know if that was, hey, he knew this is 3 charges, but he definitely didn't just want to just swim for 5 seconds and then grapple. Like he waited or he timed it perfectly and grappled across. That's huge, right? Being efficient with your movement. I've talked about this a lot in solos. It's very important. All right, hello, we are back. Today, we're doing something super special. We haven't done this yet on the channel. We're doing a pro VOD review. We're watching Ceice and Thomas of EU Heats today. They qualified to the FNCS Grand Finals for Major 1. We're about to watch it. We're going to break down every single thing they do from the start to the finish. Everything they do, why they won, the decisions they made, the mistakes they made. We're already in the Discord. We've got a whole entire crew here waiting, watching, live with us. Yo, say what's good, say what's good, say what's good. Yeah. If you guys haven't joined the Ceice Discord, you're seeing the love in here already. Discord.gg/Ceice. We do these weekly. Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing a pro VOD review, so a lot of times I'm just watching your guys' games and helping you guys. Also, I will say, everything I learn is going to be in this channel, so you guys can always look back and see what they did and why they're so successful in such a stacked lobby. Yeah, all right, let's get into it. Let's not delay. Pete, upper, boom. And we'll go into game 2. A 6-kill win, huh? I'm watching from start to finish. I want to know every little detail. So starting off right away. We don't have to talk about it really, but I will mention it. They do have good drops and they are conned, it looks like. So, or they get cleaned up. So let's see. They have the drop marked. If you guys want the marker, you know what I'm saying? There's the marker. You know, I don't know if that's actually the marker. I doubt it. It's too close. Oh, never mind. Hey, look, free drop map. No, I'm kidding. Straight away. Gonna go over everything, right? Off spawn strategies here at Lavis. Pretty clear to land on the roof, right? It's height wins everything, and then you kind of just chase the tails from there. They gotta win this fight off spawn. The great thing with this spot though, like being conned, is honestly probably a blessing with the amount of teams around him. Like you guys are seeing here on the map. There's really nobody. Like there's nobody to the north, which is unusual. There's one team at Rebel. There's one team, 2 teams to the south. Like there's really nobody to mess with them, which for good reason. Like I'm sure they're not entirely upset with being contested. Especially they know they're going to win consistently. So now they're kind of disengaging, playing slow. Both teams are stacked. This is when it gets risky, right? Because now it's like a full-on fight. Now it's going to come down to who has more mats. Like before, early game fights, they come down to who has a gun first, who can get the quick advantage, jump on the guy, you know, get the shotgun before he does, and then kill him, right? But now that it's came to this, there's a bit more strategy that needs to go into it. So you can see him, he's clearing angles, probably blocking things off. Yep. Play nice and slow. I think a big important thing with this spot is maintaining height. So I thought it was really interesting that Ceice, I know that I just found out that he killed this guy. But like to go back up on height quickly is in my opinion, not even a bad strategy. Just to make sure you have it. Like you can loot, you need to loot, right? You need to be down here getting these chests and getting mats and whatever. But bouncing up to height, shockwaving up, obviously shockwaves aren't in the game, but like getting back on high ground is what will win you this fight. And if you don't have height and they both have height, it's what's going to lose you or make it way, way harder. Let's see how Thomas kills this guy, because this is interesting. This guy is just, I have no idea what he's doing. I don't even think there's a chest here. I don't think there's anything here. And it's obviously it's laggy, so it's tough to see, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what he's doing, but still, I mean, Thomas heard him above, but it looked like he still wanted to pop his guzzle and jump up and take height, right? Like he knows height is important. So I want to stress that again. Height will win or lose you if you don't have height games, especially off spawn. He gets the kill here, which is huge, right? Gets the finish. Now he's counting his surge. Big thing to note. I know that's not hard to count a surge off of a full kill, but if you've never heard anybody say it, count your surge. You have to count your surge. Know how much damage. Okay, I hit this guy 100, finished him, that's 100. I have 200 damage in surge. You have to count your surge. Also, I swear I had no idea that you could just run up these walls. I don't know. Surely I'm not the only person that knew you could just run up and down these. Like they're just like, what? That is insane. So dude, for me, that just changed my perspective a bit on the spot. Like just knowing that like somebody could be on this angle or like at least on where Thomas is at is crazy. Fluently moving up and down, like not getting blocked by anything is nuts. It changes like the fight. Like this guy, I mean, you can't tell someone's going to be there. All right, so they get conned by 2 questionable players. Don't know what they were doing. I'd say the 2 things that won them the fight was he was going up. I mean, he probably heard the guy above him. I would assume he heard him above him. But he's also playing these angles like we just talked about. Like these are really, really sharp angles. And this guy would have no idea that Thomas is here looking at him. I don't know what he's doing exactly. If I was in that guy's shoes, I would probably be up here, like trying to scout. Like you would probably see Thomas's head peeking, right? Like you should go real slow. Like don't show yourself, obviously. See what you can see and then try to just take a one and kill one. But Now you just execute your loot route. What they have pre-planned, they've got it already in the books. They know what they need to do. Go get your loot route. Go get it done. One gets vault, one loots the rest. Oh, maybe they both get the vault. Let's see. Oh, they both upgrade, huh? Breaking the gold. Obviously, you need gold. So they get all the gold in here so they can upgrade their guns. Running sniper, of course, right? It's a stack lobby. You need to run sniper. So they're running double grappler. Thomas has a sniper AR. And Ceice has a really, I don't know if that's a, I mean, surely did he upgrade that? The AR he's using? Interesting. I don't know if he wants that AR or not. It looks like probably he does, but I would assume not. It's not a great gun, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe there's something we don't know about this gun that's like insane. Something interesting to note though is he's not farming these mats because they're 5,000 brick per thing. He's holding the high ground while getting decent mats, right? That's a huge thing. He's able to scout around, look around, make sure no one comes into the spot. Once you can secure and kind of block everyone off from coming in, then you can go down and get your mats that you really need. I'm sure there's better spots to farm brick, but instead they take the high ground, they take a safe position and they farm the mats up top while still pushing anybody away from the POI. They don't have to worry about being down and being worried, you know, some teams coming up from behind over here are going to come into the vault. They can just secure it and then rotate out. And for them, a zone, pretty solid. I mean, you can't really ask for anything better than this. It's going to be probably a reckless pull or a mountains pull, but you know, it's looking like it could be really anything. No matter what the zone is, this is a really good zone pull. They're chilling with it. Now they just got to max their mats. Metal is important, obviously. At this spot, not too much of it. Doing as much as they can to get as much metal as possible, taking their power position. Like everyone, every POI, every spot, every split drop, wherever you are, you have a power position, right? Like for this team, Sanguild and Marius, they have that as their power positioning, like the forecast tower. They have that. Thomas Ceice, this is probably one of their many power positions that they take every time they rotate out, right? It's just like it's kind of like a surge spot, but it's really not, because that's not how you play surge really anymore. Like you need a positioning, but you also need to jog and tag. That's very important. So they're capping their mats. They're gonna wait. See if they can get a lurk up on this team on gas and just play the bush. They have good surge, so they're playing pretty slow. And then when these lobbies are like this, the way the meta is, it's like not, obviously it's not the old AR system. So having 200 surge, getting 2 kills off spawn was at 400 surge, 400 plus surge is pretty insane. They're chilling. And Thomas has a sniper. I mean, what more could you ask for surge? I'd say the only thing that they probably messed up on at the same time, there's only one team. I'm sure that they will predict this. Like they really should be playing these bushes around here and just bullying or breaking the bushes, or like playing, there's a positioning for sure they could play. Maybe it's over here, like having one person in the POI to hold these guys or to see where they are. I think that this is a potential mistake, but again, they do have good surge. They are playing safe, but I think that they should probably be positioning themselves somewhere to hold down this entire fort, knowing that there's 2 teams or at least 1 team at Rebel that could come through here. I guess they could assume that this is the team at Rebel. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm tripping. I do think that they have an opportunity here to really hold a ton of territory, just like what Kemi said he would do, and they would always get a major amount of surge from it. And also, I won't disregard, Thomas has a sniper. Even if I was playing with Thomas, even if my boy Voxy was playing with Thomas, you could do anything with Thomas having a sniper, and he will get you a couple tags for sure, a couple hundred surge with the sniper. So you can play kind of unconventional with a player like this on your team, or somebody who's so good with a weapon like that. They see Vox. They know it team's at gas, but looks like they're trying to just push him off of the hill. They know he's a solo. I'm not really sure what he's doing. I don't know what the play here is. Let me see if he's actually a solo. Okay, he's actually a solo. So it's hard to say exactly the reason why they did that. If I had to pull any conclusions to it, they either know Vox lands down here. Like I'm sure there's definitely a drop map. They know where Vox lands. Voxy probably saw it in the kill feed, probably recognized the skin. I think it looks like he's wearing a default skin, but I don't think he is. And I mean, also worst case scenario, they have a grappler, so they can quickly jump on anybody. If it's not, even if it's not a solo, you know, it's a duo, they can quickly jump on this guy, play the positioning. It's the same thing that they would do back here, right? Like we saw the team rotating. They're not there anymore, but like if they see this team right here, right? They could easily from main, let's say they're both here, they both saw him. They just grapple down, play this house, or play, I don't know, this big hill right here. Let's say Paco and them aren't there. They can still grapple into position to hold the team for surge. That's how you play surge when you have a grappler as well. Like you want to just spread out as much as you can, like move quickly as much as you can to catch teams off guard, right? Same thing they would do if they look back and they see this gaseous team rotating like right up this road, they would probably grappler around to the hill and take the hill and start holding them again, right? So just utilizing the grappler, maybe knowing this is a solo, all of those things could point to the reason why this is a simple thing for them to do. Now they know it's guaranteed a solo. Like, so this is confirmed at this point that like, if they didn't know it was him, if they knew the skin was him, I don't know the exact reasoning. Now they know it's really a solo. The guy has no teammate. He hasn't came in a minute. Now it's play it really slow. I'm sure he probably gets pumped here, but play real slow, play on top of each other, which is what they're doing. and just pump out. I'm sure Thomas... Yeah, Thomas just has pump out the entire time. Just ready for this guy to make a play, because this is, I mean, put yourself in this guy's shoes. The only way he wins this is if he gets a hard shot on one of them and makes him disengage, or he just, like, singles one out and actually kills him. So, I mean, they didn't kill this guy. I don't want to sit here and challenge Queasy and Vino's, or Queasy and Thomas's, like, thought the entire game, but I would say this is probably a mistake, because they didn't need the surge like that, and it just definitely just cost them a decent amount of time and mats. So, I mean, dude, they could have gotten a couple tags in this guy and still sat on this positioning and still held and have Lavish to play in. This is what I would have done personally, but we'll see what they do. I'm sure that they play Lavish. They still want to be on the north. They still want to be somewhere north on the dead side, but we'll see what they do. I mean, we know they get this kill on Vox, but with the grappler, right? So we know they're not in zone. They can do this. They have double grappler. They can sit here, wait for the solo to go, milk all the surge, and go to zone. And because they can see the zone, they know Lavish like the back of their hands, right? So not only do they know Lavish inside and out, they know the entire buildings, where each floor takes you if you break down, what's the best mats. They know the entire spot. They know that there's God brick right here. This is a good brick. This is a good brick. This is a good brick. This is a good bunch of trees. Like, they know where to get any mats that they need. So this is really not a bad play at all. They can sit here, fight this guy in storm if they really need to, take it slow, get this kill, get the surge, capitalize on it, and then everyone else is, these guys are going in. Everyone else is going to have to be forced to go in. I think they will come back into Lavish here and get their mats up. But let's see what they do. POI and map knowledge. That's what I want to stress to you guys, is POI and map knowledge. Understanding, like, yeah, we can sit here and hold this guy because we see the zone. We know all this back here is probably likely either uncontested. No one's sitting back here. Like, no one, this green team that I'm highlighting, no one is like, I mean, this is the one team that's back here, right? No one is going to be in between this area, and they know that. Simple, easy, pop a guzzle and jump on the guy. What more could that guy do? I'm sure they could have executed that a bit earlier, but the timing was perfect, right? You wanted to wait for every team to kind of go by you, or at least you could assume that a lot of them went past, knowing they need surge and need a position. So you take advantage of waiting a bit, kill this guy. Now they need to get their mats up, right? They've got, Thomas needs a good amount of metal, Queasy needs a bit of brick. Let's see what they do. So they're going into the north here, going into Lavish a bit. Like, using mats, right? Look at this positioning. Using mats, using the brick that they know that they have back up here. Like, again, they know, I mean, you could maybe consider this to be Lavish, right? So they know this is where they want to go for brick. They know this is where they probably want to go for wood. Like, they have an entire route because they know this entire section of the map like the back of their hand. On top of this, they know extra heals they have in the POI. The vault has minis in it. They've definitely calmed to each other, or at least have a good understanding of, like, all right, look, we fight this guy. I know there's an extra guzzle. We can use our guzzle to kill him and get a fresh guzzle in here. It's inside the building. No one's going to get it. It's upstairs. It's like here, you know, or I got EMPs up here I can throw down. Like, they definitely are remembering what they've passed, so that way they can go back and get it for free. So abuse mobility, right? They're just able to cross the map so quick. And now they're just checking for spare loot. Thomas farms some metal. They're getting their mats that they know they need, and they know where to get them quickly, quick and efficient. Now they have 3 kills, right? They got 2 guys off spawn. They were both full HP, and they got that Vox guy who was also full HP, I believe. So they've gotten like 600 plus damage in surge. That's way more than enough. And now they can just straight up go right around. They're gonna keep wrapping, farming their mats. This is all safe back here. So they see the zone pull, right? They're deciding to go back here for multiple reasons. Of course, they have the surge. We know that. Like, and they need mats, right? So you could farm the mats here. I'm sure this could get them to the wood that they want or the brick they want, but why farm here when you could also just farm right here and get all your mats here and be 10 times safer? So they're going to do that instead. Okay, they're not capped mats yet, but they're about to be in a way better spot. On top of the island pull, like, obviously island's there. So they take it as a pretty good opportunity to get away from the island and get into the dead side positioning. They're the only team that can do this because they're probably the only team with 3 kills this early. I'm curious. Yeah, look, I don't know if these guys are all on the same team, but I doubt it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess these guys have 3 kills. I wonder where they are on the map, but I'm going to see. Oh, look, these guys have 3 kills and they're also in the dead side. So, like, you get your kills, 1, 2, 3 kills, and you can play a certain positioning. You can play dead side way easier. Also, I will note, I'm very curious, but it does seem like Queasy is intentionally holding this gun. Maybe I'm old and like out of the loop, but I feel like this gun is not great. I'm sure there's certain upgrades like a faster reload and I don't know, something that you can do, but I'm curious to see how much damage this gun does. And then heals, right? I know a lot of people ask about why, like, what are the heals? What do I carry? Thomas has a sniper. You'd be stupid to not carry the sniper for Thomas. I know that they already have surge. This isn't enough surge for the game. Of course, On top of that, even if they have 1,000 surge, like I said, you would still want Thomas to have the sniper. They do need more surge, so it is smart to have the sniper. So big pots, guzzle, medkits. 3 heals for the entire team. Whites is a must because of heal off and no siphon. So you're going to constantly be needing some type of white HP. And then obviously they need some type of extra mobility. So they have the guzzle. I know they have grapplers and they can recharge infinitely, but a guzzle is shield, just like a big pot is. They have the optimal loadout. I will say that 100%. Minus maybe, I'm sure they would want some gold guns, gold AR and gold pump, right? But their heals are perfect. Their mats are perfect. They have mobility. Everything's here for them. Now they just have to play positioning, not get griefed, not waste too many mats before the end game. All right, slowly, just slow building. I want to watch Ceice here. So you'll see as soon as he gets up this hill, he goes up, right? He's definitely assuming that somebody's on this hill. Like it's a very smart assumption to know that Janus probably on this hill. And especially if you watch the kill feed, Janus is contested. Janus is still alive. He killed the guy. Like, you know that he's probably going to be back here, especially on a zone like this. So Ceice grapples up once, places a build. I'm honestly surprised that he double grapplered. Personally, just maybe this is a, I don't know, lack of being comfortable using a grappler. I don't know what my reason exactly would be, but I would just opt to just build a little bit of wood here, farm this back, run up here, and then slow play, or like just come up this way and use this as angle. Like I don't want, I think Ceice and them also, they don't want them to know that they're here, right? It seems like they know, and you don't want that because now they have all the power to hold you as long as they want. So I think that personally was a misplay. I think that we'll see how they turn it around. I'm sure it's not like the end of the world. It's not gonna, they haven't died to it. They didn't lose the builds to it. But I mean, everyone would agree. You don't want the team on the hill with the pad that could sit here for eternity to hold you, which is probably what they're going to attempt to do. But let's see what Ceice does. And they know that they're being watched. So they just use their mobility. Get out, get to refarm. No big deal. Most busted movement in the game. They just grapple straight down. I've played this spot because I lane classy, so I know this is just as well, like the back of my hand. And I mean, this is exactly the rotate that I would have done. Just plain and simple. They came out here for refarm. Like I know that this brick is here. There's actually another brick I think that someone else got. I think it's like right here. So they could have got that as well. And then rotate, right? You can look at this many ways. Like, oh, they could have continued to wrap dead side, or they continue to wrap like wherever. But they take the definitely the easiest rotate through the trees, through cover, knowing this team on the hill can't see them. This is, I mean, they're going to go right through here, maybe chill in this bush and then come through. Like this is a very, very, very good rotate, a prime rotate for sure. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to you don't have to pad around and follow Janus and Flixie. You can just go straight up the gut sometimes just based off of cover. Also, another thing interesting to note, don't know if this is intentional. I mean, I don't know why I'm even saying this. I don't know if a lot of this is intentional. I'm just predicting. He did save enough charges to get across the water 3 times. I don't know if that was, hey, he knew this is 3 charges, but he definitely didn't just want to just swim for 5 seconds and then grapple. Like he waited, or he timed it perfectly and grappled across. That's huge, right? Being efficient with your movement. I've talked about this a lot in solos. It's very important. Grappling, sliding down the hill. Grappling on a tree, sliding down the hill. Using your full sprint, grappling again. Like you can be super efficient. You shouldn't just spam grapplers, grappler. Like you don't need to use 4 charges before you get up this hill. So kind of what they're doing right now. Efficient movement is very, very important. Now you just vibe out. Wait for zone to go. He's going to see what mats he can get. Maybe he can farm that extra brick. I'm sure he wants to be capped. Thomas is already capped. Having a player in the back, like your follower, your fragger, like Ceice, Thomas to Ceice. Having Thomas stay max mats is huge, right? Not having to worry about your fragger. I mean, I know that this is a pro duo. These guys are top of the top, but not having to worry about mats on your teammate. He's not burning too much. He's always going to be capped is huge, right? Now it's just Ceice has to worry about getting his own mats to up to cap, and he does that pretty well. Now he's there. They get a pretty lucky zone pull. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better on this zone. This can be your make or break zone. Like you could entirely ruin your game here because the rotates could be so tragic. Like these teams all at Reckless. These teams down in the river to the left of Reckless. This is going to be rough. If you're not where Ceice and Thomas are, it's going to be rough. You don't have to force it, but at least be where they are right now, which is prime, right? They build on the bush. They've got the bush. Build on the bush. They play dead side. That's going to expand. They can fish if they want to have extra whites. There's a lot of opportunity now that they have this positioning. I think that's a pretty obvious decision to just, if you have the dead side opportunity, you take it, and they take it. Now they're here. Yeah, so he gets the fishing rod. He's going to start fishing. He's going to get as many sardines as possible, as many floppers in his box as possible. Meanwhile, Thomas looking, scouting around, trying to get probably some snipes, any surge he can get. And he's common. Those guys on the hill. So now they know there's a team up here. Thomas already saw him go up. And of course, they have the pull, right? So there's no need to delay. So I've talked about it a lot, like creating options like A, B, C, right? At a very pro level, Like there are options created, but it's not like as drawn out as like this is A and this is B and this is C. Like you can see a pretty good opportunity here to take a quick rotate, and so they take it. And I think this rotate we're about to see what they do. It looks like they're going to go up left here. I think this is the make or break rotate for, you know, depending on how stacked you want to be or how stacked you're going to be going into moving zones. I say, I mean, without seeing this, it's laggy. I say they go to the right, but we'll see what they do. So he goes up. Yeah, he goes to the right. Okay, cool. Obviously, I think the right is the clear choice here. You just go to the right, play a position on the hill instead of like here, like, or here, right? Like even this team is in a mid positioning from where they could be in. And then again, like you would say they could be up here, right? They could go dead side. This is all going to be uncovered, but this is just an over rotate and it's not needed. At a certain point, you don't have to overdo it and you can just simplify your game and just get in zone. That's what they do. So they're in a great spot. They have good surge. I don't think they've gotten mini tags this entire game. I haven't seen them shoot much. Thomas has used like 3 or 4 snipe shots the entire game. So they're still riding off of that 3 kills, the early surge, the 600 damage. So again, favorable zone pull again, right? Just like how they're back here, they have their options drafted, right? Like I said earlier, it's not so much as A, B, C. It's just like they can recognize really quickly what is the best positioning to be in or what's the best zone for them to pull. And this is the best zone for them to pull, right? Like if you look anywhere else, if it goes here, this is not great, right? Or it goes to them, sure, maybe they're happy about that. But this is about to stretch everyone out to be very, very thin. Like all of these guys are going to be very, very, very low on mats when it comes down to the final few zones. And that's another thing that Thomas and Ceice know, right? They are like looking at themselves like, look, we've got 145, 122 mats each. Zone's pulling, it keeps pulling. Like they can tell that this entire, like 80% of the lobby is going to have to go through the trenches to get to the top 5, right? So I would say that's even more of a confidence booster. Like, yo, lock in. This is the game. Focus up. We're going to win. You got the pull you wanted. You got the kills off spawn. You got the extra bit of surge. You have the loadout you want. You're still stacked. Zone keeps pulling for you, and then it pulled again to get to here. So they know, like, they get in this zone, they play it smart, nice and slow. So using mobility, of course, very, very simple. Very, very good mats. Positioning wise, right? They were able to just abuse having a grappler. So they just grappler and land elevated. This is where you want to be, an elevated position, right? Where you can scout the next rotate and they can continue to go in. Because obviously they're not in yet. They need to go around this hill. And then you'll see that, right? So they have a grappler and they still have all their charges left. 3 and 1 for Thomas, or no, 3 and 3. They have all their charges, but instead of using their charges, they just use a guzzle, use a bit of charge, heal up a bit. I think Thomas needed a bit of HP. So they use it, they heal him at the same time while doing a simple rotate. And again, they position themselves in a high position. This is exactly where you want to be. In metal, elevated, look at their mats. Very, very, very good. 1,000 mats each, over the 1,000 mats each, chilling. Absolutely chilling. I think the only thing that they're going to be worried about right now is a bit is surge. They've got 159 above. I know surge is about to go away, but that's definitely their next focus. They're going to need some surge for in-game. They haven't had to worry about this in the entire time. They've gotten minimal tags this entire game past the early game, and surge is going to be very important here. Zone pulls again south over a mountain into a valley. I mean, they're recognizing this. Anybody that's playing the game is recognizing that's pulling down into a valley here. My prediction is they're going to grapple under height or grapple and play underneath height. Like they're going to grapple this way and kind of go underneath them rather than going hard left here and just expanding yourself or exposing yourself to height. And they're going to play elevated, and they're probably going to end up using a bit of guzzle here because it is elevation drop, and guzzle is definitely better for elevation drop because you could be in Malibuka's position and pop a guzzle and jump and pump somebody out the sky and kill them. Like rather than a grappler where your grappler pulls and then you have to wait to build and then you land and then it's like laggy and you're teleporting and like all of that. So I would assume that they probably maybe even use a guzzle in this first rotate. I think that's the safest option. And it's all about taking minimal risk, right? Okay, so they go for a grapple play, but they set it up, right? It's not just a simple run out of the wall and go. They're telling you the direction he wants to go. Queasy's telling him, if not marking, probably Janice's box where he's going to grapple to. He marks it, we're going. Boom. Okay, so he actually does go below height, which, I mean, that makes a decent amount of sense because of the way the guns are. You're really not going to get shot from height, especially with all the players, but we'll see what he does here. So he plays dead side here. Probably uses wood, if I had to predict as well. You don't want to be burning all your hards too early. Yeah, so he's building in wood. Nice and chill. Like he's not going to waste max mats before he gets in the zone. He's not even in yet. Healing up here. The benefit of the item. They see that there's a big refresh here. This is probably a free refresh for them. Yep. Oh, that guy got everything except for the middle. I mean, right there, just in my opinion, that just shows how sketch the grappler is. They're just grapplering, and it's you're kind of just praying that no one lands on you. Versus if you have the guzzle there, I think they use it all. But if you have the guzzle there, right, it's a little bit more chill, and you're kind of just able to pick exactly where you want to go. But it works. They're fine. Zone pulls, and instead of just sitting, waiting, and grappling, right, because they could have done that. They get themselves a little bit delayed on the rotate here. They know that like they definitely could sit here. Anybody could, right? I could sit here and wait for zone to go, and it might work just as well. But they're gonna get a little bit delayed, a little staggered from the rest of the crowd, which would be everyone you're seeing behind them, right? You've got, I can't even tell how many teams this is. They're gonna wait and stagger and let them all go ahead of them, and then they're gonna have a way free rotate rather than being reason where you just grapplering and this guy's grappling and he's falling on your head, and this guy, like you're about to see, it's gonna be pretty messy here. They stagger, they wait. And they start to look probably down since it goes down and grappler. He actually tarps it out. He goes up one. Okay, so he goes up one. Starts to spray out what he thinks is... Oh, no, he's spraying out height. Okay. But the guys, like Pink and them, are just not there. They think they're also getting sprayed. Pink's also looking for height too. So, I mean, hey, this is pretty textbook Fortnite, right? Like, I've talked about this a bunch. I've done this a ton. This is like something you guys can do in solos. Because they have so many mats as a duo. They can do this, right? But ideally, like, I mean, no one else has the mats that they have. Like, they've played the entire mid game to late game perfect. Their rotates have been perfect. They got that refresh to just boost them up a little bit. Their mat usage in the early in game with the wood was perfect. So they have a good amount of hards at this point. So instead of just tarping in, where did they go? Yeah, they do go. They do drop down. Okay, I was about to say. So they actually grappler and land on a high layer and then tarp again. They're right here. They grappler, boom, lands. I'm sure if they had a fizz, they would have rather fizzed it, but it's fine. You do the same thing. Get ahead, build yourself a tarp here, and look up, right? They've got the mats. I mean, if we surf the guys above us here, everyone else above them is going to go for height. I mean, we'll watch this team here. This is the next team. 66-43, right? Probably not looking to go for it. Reason's dead. We got Flixie with 53, Janice with 94. They've got great mats. Malibuka has a solo with 60. Nebs just died with 44. iDrop has 46. He's already in front low. We'll go up again to Pink and Vico. Second height team. They've got great mats and great loot and in a great position. They've got it all. And you've got Ping and Mixon, who've been holding the height the entire game with 27 and 45. So Pink and Vico are also playing just as textbook. It's just when you have the EU teams in the same lobby, like it's just the battle of who goes for it at the right timing. And it seems like Queasy and Thomas are going for it at the right time here, or they're at least playing the right option. And somehow Queasy and Vino are always the ones that win it. And they win it by good timing and not being the first nor the last team to go for it. They have good timing. They know they have good mats. They're just gonna run it out, tarp it out. Probably gonna continue to look up, right? They know they still have good mats. This is still in their game plan. They've got 50 builds each. They both know this is exactly what they want. Following old tarps, they get a pretty lucky zone pull, right? It goes back in their stuff. I mean, who'd be upset about that? But now you've got more beef on the high ground. Following the tarp. Opting not to grappler. They don't need to grappler when they're this stacked. They just gun out, kind of tarp in a little bit, slow tarp, right? They're playing very slow, clearing layers. Pulls, they go. Again, no need to force mobility. They can just rotate for free using their mats. They already have great mats. 30-30 is really great. Gives him some mats back. Sees opportunity to drop down layers. Like, right, you take it. You see the opening, you take it. No hesitation. Get a little refresh on the guy's shambles on their lair. Now it's tarp out. Their game plan is entirely shifted from tarp out. How long can we just stall the game out, right? Like, they're gonna try to probably look to drop low ground eventually. They've got 3 med kits. They've had a pretty perfect game up to this point. I think their biggest worry is I need more heals, right? So they're just gonna tarp it out, play slow here, right? They don't need to force anything. They don't need to go for any more fights. They're already in the final stages of the game where it's just now you just worry about keeping your white HP as healthy as possible while gathering more whites. If they see an opportunity to drop low ground to kill a team, like they're gonna take it, right? Like If this is a more even ground, then I would probably say they would take low ground here just because this team is staggered in the back. But yeah, no risk, right? No risk. Just get us to heal off, and we'll probably win. Thomas drops. He's not the one playing heal off, right? Obviously, Ceice has the medkits. Thomas, he drops instantly. I'm curious if he sees his medkits here. He does. He doesn't pick him up. Maybe he tells him that they're there. Oh, Ceice gets him. So he's like, yo, Ceice, medkits here. Drops. Ceice drops. Did he take fall damage? But yeah, Thomas, obviously he has to go do his thing. He's got to go get medkits. He's got to go frag out. He's got nothing. He can't just sit here and protect Ceice infinitely. And Ceice also, they know that, right? So Thomas drops, goes for the kill, kills Ceice. Let's see what Ceice does though, because I think he takes fall damage. Oh, he gets pumped by Pink. He runs out of mats a little too quick. That almost cost it right there. Thomas is doing his thing. Just frag out, get as many kills as you can. It doesn't really matter, but that is just for the win that gets you to the finals. But in any other lobby, right? Like it's all about let me heal off. One of you guys go get the kills. Try to find me some white heals. Maybe Flixie down here dies with 3 floppers, and you just calm it out. Like you're looking at all this, seeing what you can see, and you're going for it. So now it's just heal off, right? Queasy's popping his med kits. Heal, heal, heal. Now they're just sitting here praying, and obviously we know they get it done. I'm not gonna lie. I know we just watched Ceice, but Malabuka was solo for... I haven't seen him with a duo this entire game, and he gets top 3. We might have to do a breakdown on Malabuka. Like, this guy is just unhuman. Insane. Boom. So, that was their win, right? Key takeaways from the game would be they played positioning very well when they had their surge, right? So, they got their early surge, right? Breaking down the entire game here, or at least talking about some key things. They got their 3 kills, right? They got the 2 kills off spawn. They killed the guy over here. And then they just played dead side, right? So they got their dead side positioning. They did their thing. They didn't overcommit to it. They didn't wrap all the way around, right? They got to a pretty favorable position. I think that they lacked the understanding that might be the Flixie and them would be on this hill, and they got spotted, which is it's okay. But the zone definitely also helped them on that. I think that they overall got a couple good zones, like especially the moving zones to pull back. But so they got the kills, they got the surge, they played dead side. Very simple. We all understand why that's a beneficial thing to do and how to do it and why to play it. The key things past this point was they rotated quickly, swiftly across this water. They didn't overcomplicate it. They just used the 3 chargers, got across, boom, in a great position now. And then they pulled zones from that point forward. Like for the most part, they pulled like favorable zones where they went to the bush to play dead side, and then they got zone again, so they rotated here, and then they got zone again, so they rotated here. So like they've got and they got this zone too, like the one that pulls across pretty much the entire map. They pulled a bunch of zones. Yeah, ultimately it put them in this position with 1,000 mats each into moving zones. And then past this point is just the only big thing that they did was they played a dead side positioning, which I initially thought wasn't the play, but now I think it makes a lot of sense to get away from the pack. Yeah, and then it's just typical Fortnite, right? We watched them. They're just grapple, land, find a refresh, grapple, tarp, pulled back. Like that was a good pull. Go through your tarp, pulls back more, go through your tarp. They get a pretty solid pull when it comes down to like somewhere over here. Like when they dropped down the low ground, they had a free drop. So overall, good pulls. I mean, you can't just sit here and say that they got lucky every zone. They're putting themselves in the position to have those good pulls, right? Like they could have easily have sat here and waited and not taken advantage of this positioning, or to have maybe got this positioning and not gone early here. Like there's a lot of things they did right to get into those positionings to take advantage of pulling zones. All right, and that was the game. I absolutely loved watching that. They are a crazy team. But now we're gonna hop into some questions from the Discord. I do this every single time after a VOD review, so let's get straight into it. Ask away, ask some questions. What do y'all want to know? Surge techniques, 3 kills. Literally, that was their surge. 3 kills, and the techniques was they had Thomas have a sniper, right? That was huge. If they went low ground earlier, would it be better? No, because you win games more consistently from high ground, right? So that's why when we were watching Pink and Vico and Janice and Flixie, they were all looking at height. And I mean, if we go back to the final few here, like the teams that battled for height earlier were probably the ones that were on height at the end. So yeah, Janice and Flixie, right? They were the ones that were playing mid-ground elevation, and they looked at height and they have it. And see, even Pink like at an elevated layer here, you know, he's elevated, he's up. He was looking at height as well. Yeah, I mean, they played it's a height option. This is what I call it. It's the height option. You just play that, and eventually you'll either be able to take height or you won't. And you'll just drop low ground. Exactly what they did. They played the height option. They looked at it. They tried. They didn't get it. They played mid ground, went to low ground. They're done. They won the game. I think Malabuka would have been a threat if he did anything a little differently. I'd have to see, but he did play solo, so I'm sure he also had a similar. Like I know when we looked at Malabuka's positioning, he was over here, right? So he has a pretty similar positioning to Queasy and them, right? Like Queasy and them were here, Malabuka was here, right? So like the rotates that they had were pretty favorable through the game. I mean, like I know Malbucas is solo up to this point, probably a bit beyond, but he did get some good pulls, just like Queasy and them. And of course, Malbuca's brain is just as smart, if not smarter than Queasy and Vino's, or Queasy and Thomas. So you could expect him to do a very similar rotate, play very smart. One of the most important things to know or notes out of this entire game, I think the most important thing from this game, playing dead side and taking advantage of it when they had it. Like they could have definitely have sat when they pulled the zone and just sat in the bush that they were in. But instead, you know, they were here, they rotated to the lake, then they got the next zone and they went instantly. They took advantage of the dead side and then they got the next one. They went instantly. So they could have definitely staggered 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, and waited and waited and waited, but they didn't. They recognized that they had the advantage and they took it. And that's what ultimately made their game so much easier. Imagine if they didn't rotate to the island and they sat in this bush right on pink yellow marker. And then the zone pulled and they were over here now. Imagine. They would have been stuck with the bunch. Everyone would have been right through them right here. Yeah, they would have probably had maybe a kill or two from the rotate. Like sitting in the bush, they would have killed somebody coming off this. Positioning would have been way worse. And so this was the biggest decision that they made, to rotate into storm, or like rotate in the dead side and go as fast as possible when the zone's pulled for them. When you're in stack games like this, you don't need crazy mechanics. For me, they did not. Oh yeah, no, they did nothing. They did nothing crazy off spawn. They did nothing crazy. I think that the biggest thing was their aim. So you need maybe good aim, but it's not like you look at it like that. Like you get good mechanics, you get good aim. You get good aim, you get good mechanics. Like it's kind of, they go together. Yeah, you need to be mechanical because you need to be mechanical to get to this point. You can't just be a brain only player and make it to this finals lobby with, you know, like unless you have a great fragger with you. But yes, you're right. It's not like they're box fighting every team. They're not keying this lobby. They're playing very positioned, very smart. When do I know when to rotate? It's very situational. I can't just tell you like go left, go first right away. Like it's I have to watch your games, Mega, but if you can kind of see what I'm saying when I'm watching Queasy and Thomas, is like they see the opportunity and they go. So you feel it out, you know, it's I mean that's like a big part of the game of experience, right? Like experience means you're not nervous in the finals lobbies. You know, like you've played finals lobbies 100 times. You've played on the biggest stages. You're not nervous on the big stages because you've done it before. Same like when you're pre-firing somebody, like, or when you're box fighting somebody, like, you know what they're gonna do. You feel that they're about to edit the wall, so you pump it. So just more experience, but just like, yeah, you just gotta know. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this is a different take from what we normally do. I had a blast, of course. And again, if you haven't joined the Ceice Thesis Discord, you're missing out. Discord.gg/thesis. The vibes here are insane. I'm here to help you guys, all for free. I'll never ask for a dime. I think the only thing I'm gonna ask for right now is maybe drop a like. You know, hey, if you want to subscribe, because I'm gonna be doing this more often. Hop in here, get your gameplay watched. Let's get to grinding. All right, I'll see y'all later.